illustrated one on the television special is a perfect design by Wolf Lyons Architects of mixed use, both commercial shops down below and then beautiful homes up above. And next we talk with John Wolf, and he explains this whole new design where Dot's Diner in the 8th and Pearl Sinclair used to be. Architecture firm of Wolf Lyons. That's pretty good. Pearl, which is a project that's very dear to me. It's always a pleasure to be able to talk about a building that you really care about. My partner and I conceived of this building in the early 1990s and wanted to do an exemplary mixed-use building that combined to acquire this site around 1991. It was a former gas station. It had a little diner on it that was also quite loved by the community called Dot's Diner that a lot of people may remember. And so we felt a certain responsibility to make the yard and find sun or shade as they please. And it's a wonderful gathering place and that people would also learn to love over time. Shapes. And we're fortunate to have a little bakery. No building in Boulder can not try to take advantage of the splendid flat irons which we are so lucky to have here, and we tried to do that by framing a number of views. Standing in next to the upper courtyard in the building, and behind me are the entrances, or actually they're the back porches of 5 of the residential units that complete the project. And there's a 12-foot separation between the commercial uses that are at the ground level off of Pearl Street. The upper courtyard provides an openness for the residential units, back porches front onto it, and you're allowed to move through the project from Pearl Street up the stairs and then come out on the north end adjacent to the historic Mapleton neighborhood. One of the important things about our design solution was to figure out a way that our architecture could be sympathetic to the historic neighborhood, Mapleton Hill neighborhood. On this side of the building, the east side, you can see how the commercial uses transition into 3 residential units. Here we are on the west side of the building, 7 feet, so that, you know, on both sides, and the other side too, so you get this kind of dense planning band.
Next, here on the West End, we go to Bidel and Company and talk to Jann Bidel in this emerging...
The people from the neighborhood shop here on a regular basis. They know when something is new.
Fancy new old-looking building. And what's interesting is all the neighbors come down here to shop for their furniture. It's the continuing story of our West End of Pearl television special on Jann Scott Tonight.
I'm Jann Bidel, and I'm standing in front of my shop, Bidel and Company, 767 Pearl Street, the former site of Dot's Diner. I've been here much like a neighborhood. When I moved in, the neighbor welcomed by all the people that lived down the street. People call me at home to tell me that I've left furniture outside overnight. When our lions were missing, ago, and it was gone for 3 months, and it turned up 3 months later. And then just this last spring, the other lion disappeared and turned up on the side of the building. And again, one of the neighbors saw it about 7 o'clock in the morning, and he got someone to help him move it in front of the. They couldn't tell us, but they were really tired when they got back.
You kids leave the lions alone! Stop taking the lions! Bad!
Yeah, I've been here 2.5 years, and that's exactly how long I've been in the antique business. I'm learning right along with my customers. The #1 requested antique here at Bidel and Company on the West End is silver. This is one of my favorite cabinets. That's why I won't sell it. That's a Tiffany piece over here. This is my mother, Maybelle. And this is Auntie, the
and they're all going to keep it under 15 seconds.
Next door in this building was a garage, and when they moved out, then we moved in here, and from a small space into 3,000 square feet, which we have had for now going on 17, 18 years, something like that. For years, we were just sort of, down here by ourselves.
Remember that?
No,
Okay.
there's always a grocery store over here.
There's a hardware store there on the corner there where Lolita's is now located. So now it's that history goes back in 1920s and 30s.
There are 6 individually owned businesses in this shop.
Specialize in country primitives and American oak. Right here, painted furniture. I deal a lot in painted and things like that.
Hey, I'm Marie Brown.
Yeah. All right. All sterling silver.
Yes, all sterling.
Who's the Steve Company?
A very tall sterling silver base that was probably made by the Steve Company. They're a famous silver manufacturing company. It's an American company. And they always do very fine work.
Hi, I'm David Love. I love antiques, antique mirrors in our
Pocket. Okay. That's nice.
last week from Afghanistan rugs, and these are all handmade rugs, and they're just hard to find anymore. But I found several of these rugs, and I've had them in the collection for quite a long time.
Hi, I'm Carolyn, and welcome to. Right now, this is what you'd class as grunge. This is grunge. And old furniture, grunge, old. I don't carry a lot. Cookie cutters and
furniture. I find vintage pieces with interesting lines.
There you go.
Okay. So now what is this? What is it?
It's so, I guess.
Hi, I'm Carol Ward of the Ward Collection. I feature
Repair shop.
It was the Sinclairs, the 8th and
Oh,
Pearl
yeah.
Sinclair.
Okay,
I was
Sinclair.
corrector.
Okay.
Exactly what it was.
It was run by Bill, you remember?
But now,
Bill,
you remember we had the bathhouse right over there.
Oh yeah, let's talk about the bathhouse. How many times?
Oh, I didn't know about that.
Look at Willie's pizza.
wow.
Downtown at 8th and Pearl Street.
Still have a beautiful view up there.
Yeah, we do.
That was going though.
Well, what is? The antique shop? Based back in the late 80s. We did the demo. We turned it into a Nick and Willie's 89, and we've kind of been here ever since. Wow, 12 years ago, there wasn't a whole lot going on this end of the mall. Pretty much everything stopped at 9th Street. You had University Bikes and Mountain Sports were there, but after that, the feel was pretty much that you were in a neighborhood at that point. Bolitas was a little grocery store, and there really wasn't much else going on down here. I think once we opened our store, combined with a few other stores that opened right just across the street here, we saw a little more commerce coming to this end of the mall, and people were starting to make this the end of the mall walk. They used to stop at maybe the end of the Walking Street Mall, then it moved down to 9th, and now it's, I think it's all the way down to where you actually do get into the residential zone, which is about here at 8th Street. So people come down here and they make the turn and then they'll work their way back. So I think we feel like we're pretty well included in the mall itself. So even though we're on the West End, we feel like we're part of the actual mall now. When the West End first started getting going, I think Plaza J was there, the West End was there. Those are two reasons people walk past the end of the walking mall. Yeah, there's quite a few dogs and cats. By name, not necessarily, but by preference. Some like pepperoni, some like turkey, some like actually vegetables. So we like to give treats to the animals when we get a chance to.
All right, kids.
I grew up in South Denver. Been in Boulder. I lived here once in 70, 71. They lived all over the state over the next maybe 10 years, and I was back here in 82, 83, and I've been here since. Always liked Boulder. I was here, but when I was going to school in the 70s, the mall wasn't here yet. They were just starting to do the construction of the walking mall. I went to CU, and CSU, actually Western State and Gunnison and UNC as well. So two of our more popular pizzas right now, and we have wonderful flavors. They're both vegetarian. You can add meats, change things, but
We're with Willie at Nick and Willie's. They invented here on the West End for 12 years. These are the guys. This is the pizza. This is the West End television special. He's the godfather of the West End. Here on the very West End of Pearl is Independent Motors.
There was a liquor store right across the road. They were on their way out, but it was a funky old liquor store. It was a beautiful old wooden building. And then shortly after, a woodworker came in, and he had it as a woodworking shop. And you know, old and funk is colorful, and brand new buildings that are sterile but made to look somewhat a little bit more colorful take their place. I think you know, there's two sides to that, and one part of me says that, geez, I miss some of those old funky places, and the other part says, boy, look at this beautiful, nice office building. It's really a joy to be in here. But so I have really mixed feelings about that. Oh, I worked for this shop, this company, a big dealership down in Denver, back in the late 70s and the early 80s, and they were so conscious of bottom line ethics, short-term bottom line ethics, that it was very apparent that they didn't really have any concern for people.
Independent Motors, Sean speaking.
For quite a while I would be opening a repair shop, that I would never run a business that way. So I made a conscious effort to and that served me really well. So really, our people is our main concern, whether it be customers or employees. That's I approached Lori, who we were very, very inexpensive, and so we attracted a certain kind of clientele. And after a couple of years, I realized that we couldn't quite operate on at that level, so we had to increase our prices a little. So things have changed over the course of time with the customers that we've gotten. But I do remember one day that it was a very beautiful day in, I think, July. And we had, I think, 6 or 7 240Zs, and they were absolutely in immaculate shape, and a couple 280Zs. So I lined them up on Those days were really fun. It was more sports cars, and it was a lot easier to work on cars then too.
And look at these handcrafted chairs and the folks who've been making them in this location for 13 years.
I had a store on the east end of Pearl, and so we started the Sky Chair thing on the east. We moved to the west because we like being closer to the mountains. We like kind of the neighborhood atmosphere. There are some very cool people that walk down this street, and you see them every day. They love living a little west of here and walking down to do their shopping, or just living and being a part of kind of a little village. Hundreds, I'm not sure the exact year, maybe 1885. Cool location and a renovated and pleasant historical building. The Sky Chair is it's a hanging canvas tensile seating. Diane and I make the chair here on Pearl Street and sell the chair. We make the chair out of a canvas duck. First of all, a scissors, and then a big mechanical knife, and we sew the chair together using a Adler. It's an industrial walking foot sewing machine. We put on a 1-inch poly webbing all around the border to reinforce the chair. Tie the chair together with a hollow braided polypropylene rope using a boot system that we sew together. Stacks of dowels and hardwood that we rub a Watco finish into. Go ahead. Well, we make the Sky Chair on Pearl Street, which is probably an expensive place to make a chair, but we love being here. People know that we hand make the chair right here in Boulder.
Are you going to come up? I'll call you back. This is a one-of-a-kind store in Boulder, Colorado. We are located at 942 Pearl Street, right next to the Trident Cafe, which everybody knows. We're on the fabulous...
It's okay. I have a question for you.
The store started in 1985 as a essentially used clothes.
We're done on this part.
Okay. Presidents of the last 25 years. I live relatively close to downtown. I've been on the West End for my entire 16 years in business. It has changed significantly from a little sleepy area to a wonderful, vital, growing business area. And it's growing in a way to be what Boulder used to be, with locally owned businesses. 20 years ago, this was very sleepy down here. When I started in business in '85, I was on Walnut Street, and my landlord kept telling me that Walnut Street was going to be the big, exciting new street in Boulder. Just wait till that hotel goes in. Well, the hotel hasn't gone in yet, but the West End has changed significantly. To buy our inventory, he loves them. People who have been part of Boulder for the last 30, 40 years. A lot of them still hang out at the Trident. There's a morning crowd that's here every single day. We get to know all of them. We have people who frequent all of the estate sales and garage sales and go shopping for us and come in to visit us all the time. We have favorites even among the street people who come to see us. Classic Facets specializes in vintage, antique, and estate jewelry. We try to carry only the authentic pieces. We do not carry new jewelry. We don't carry reproductions. We work in specific areas. Here you see antique rubies, emeralds, and sapphires.
Go.
This is an example of creature pins that were worn in the 1950s. Bugs, animals. Those are not Coke spoons, those are nut picks.
Special on Jan Scott tonight, up on the roof with Dave Strickland, and we're going to eat the cheeseburger.
Hi, I'm David Strickland, one of the many owners of the West End Tavern, and I'm here to tell you a little bit about our bar. So they contacted the Red Cross, which used to be in this space, put together a plan, gathered together a bunch of their friends, and bought the building.
What year?
Let's see, in 1986, when the bar first opened in October of 1986, across the street was a little white frame house that was soon to become Pasta J's. The Trident has been here forever. The Daily Camera was still down there. Well, early on, Tom's Tavern was the only eating facility down in this end of town. Next door was the old paint store, which is now Juanita's. Next to that was a used bookstore, which has since become Triana's. And gradually it's become more gentrified, I would suppose is the term. Drinking a lovely lemonade.
You got to tell me about the Mahi Mai. Go ahead.
It's sort of the upscale, higher price guys. We have a wide variety. We have, you know, the regular guys who wake up from the city park and come down here and wait for us to open at 11. Down here and do lunch. We've got a regular clientele of people who like to have a regular, non-assuming bar-type atmosphere where they can come down and be relaxed, enjoy beautiful scenery. Definitely have a beer and enjoy what we live here for.
Photographers working here before I got
Phone number said back bar for sale. We called. They said they were in Baird, Nebraska, which is, I don't know, 6-8 hours from here. We drove up about a week later, me, Beav, and my girlfriend. Walked in to a closed bar called Miss Kitty's Saloon. Miss Kitty walks in, and she was typically Miss Kitty. Beehive haircut, satin jacket, spandex pants, classic. Bar was closed. There was a warehouse next door. She says it's in there. And Beav goes, well, what do you think? I go, I don't know jack about a back bar, but I know a great piece of ass when I see one.
Here's the Beaver.
Yo, Beav, what's the haps?
There we are.
TV, go Broncos, God bless America.
Good job.
I'm Dennis from Marisol Imports, Dennis de Colorado. And well, the West End has always seemed like small town to me. When the gas station was across the street, I'd run into everybody from Fishing Partners, Jim Myers. I felt like a secret agent on the corner, seeing who was back home from their vacations, who was getting gas and lived in the mountains. So this is street life on the West End. The sidewalk being nice and big, people strolling by. Named it Marisol after a Mexican friend's daughter, Marisol. Marisol means sea and sun in Spanish, and it's a common name for stores, Boutique Marisol, Tienda Marisol. So it's a positive, you know, it's like someone naming their boat, only we're naming the business. We work in a little village in Oaxaca and import a lot of the rugs. Pretty steadily, about every 12 weeks, get a new shipment of Zapotec rugs. I've been doing this for 20 years. and have worked with the same families pretty much for those whole 20 years. I'm actually one of the only people I know that does what he studied in college, studied Latin America studies, Spanish, Third World economics, and feel blessed to be able to go to a little Zapotec village, speak Spanish. It's a whole study, anthropological study. This is Marg, my partner Marg. We've been working this shop together for 20 years, and next week, by the way, she's going to get more of the Guatemala fabric. These are Zapotec rugs, handmade in Oaxaca. Zapotec Indians were contemporaries of Aztecs, Toltecs, Olmecs, but they're Zapotecs. Famous weavers, the best weavers in Mexico, which have a worldwide reputation actually. Weave a lot of their own patterns, we give them a lot of influence as far as colors that people are decorating with, make them in all sizes, from room size to little mats, coasters. We're a national warehouse for Zapotec rugs, and from here we distribute to designers, other stores, but it's open, all our inventory is open to the public. As people walk in the store, they don't realize how many rooms are actually in here. And then last for 112 years. And pottery from Guadalajara.
Is that what this all is?
Yes. To me, I just find it so surprising how well you can find things that go in our homes from Mexico.
Going to go upstairs and talk with building. He's lived here for 25 years. Walk right by me. That's great.
And you're looking at a 55-foot building, and ten years ago, 5 years, had to do with the love of skiing, and we spent a lot of time on the mountains, primarily up in Vail and other areas. And when we settled down with the family, we settled in originally on Wall Street in New York, and when I came out to Boulder, we had started a company in agriculture. We're right here now at the corner of Walnut and 9th Street at the apex of the Maxim building. This building was built, as I said, in about 1998, late that year we finished it. I said earlier, the building was designed to reflect the transition between commercial and residential areas. You know, which is interesting from this view is here, you're on our terrace, and you're looking at a 55-foot building, and you can still see the flat irons in the mountains are, you know, very adequately displayed. We're on the old Rich's Amico site, which was a gas station. As you can see behind me, you see a one-story building, which is the West End Tavern. We have a bit of a dilemma. We were aware of this when we went and looked and purchased the property. And in fact, the West End real estate interest who owned the tavern also looked at this property, but decided for other economic reasons that they didn't want to acquire it at the price it required to be purchased at. They do own other properties here in Boulder, such as this. To know as a bit of background, this lot is owned by the park. Way possible. We have worked with them arduously right from the beginning, including their architects, to try to develop designs that would mitigate any impact to them. They have to recognize that they own an interior lot that ultimately would be an interior building when this property got developed. I've had hamburgers up there myself. I've looked at the views.
Been in this location since '91. It was on the hill for some time in the late '80s. Denopoli means of Naples. It was even though we're on Walnut Street. This particular structure has been here since the turn of the century. I think originally it was a duplex. It's all stone. The walls are about 1.5 feet thick. Later on, someone added a cinder block building, which isn't.
Oh yeah. Actually, they filmed an episode, boss.
Is we're a dinner-only restaurant, so the patio lends itself to nighttime dining.
At Dinopoli's Ristorante, it's a real Italian restaurant with a real back room serving only Italian wines, only Italian food. It's on one half New York. Great-grandma showed all us in my family how to make meatballs. Is that right? Everybody always says she had the best meatballs.
Joe's recipe calls for pork, it calls for beef, and
Fresh basil and peeled Roman tomatoes. Fresh mozz in the oven, and then you can't tell, it just molds with the other mozzarella. Same thing with the basil. We put the basil on last, and you taste all the flavors. It's got roasted garlic, the Roman tomatoes. My father, he come in here and ate one night, and he says to me, they got a new pie in New York City. It's the best pie I ever had. It's called the Marguerite. I made him one, and he says that's the best pizza he's ever had. It's way better than one he had in New York. So why? Finished doing desserts. These are our rolls. They're just knots. It's Italian bread, though.
Boulder. We have 3 in Denver, but this one by far has the roots.
Ready, go.
Okay. My name is Tom Kramus, owner of Presto, down here on West Walnut. That's what we like to call it anyways. West Walnut at 11th and Walnut. And we are going to be talking with Jann Scott here.
No. This street and the kinds of people who come here and who, like big, famous people.
Right. Okay, I'll try that again.
Yep, go.
Here we are. People that like to come here are people like this. Much our clientele. We like to cater to just about any.
Look around you and tell me from what buildings or what stores people come here to eat.
Okay.
Just look. I mean, do they come from the camera and there and there?
Right.
Who comes here?
Across the street, we have the Exeter building, and there's a lot of brokers in that Exeter building, so we cater to a lot of people that work over there. We also cater to a lot of people that work at the Denver Post. Daily camera. Whoops. Okay, can we cut?
No. Keep going.
Okay.
How
Sorry,
long's this
because I have another store down at the Denver Post, so. Oops. I was on a roll though. That was better, huh?
Keep going. Look at me.
Okay.
The pretty girl.
All right. Can we start out? I'll just start fresh. Here we go.
All of this is going in.
Oh no!
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm going to break that camera right now.
Especially this part.
I'm going to break that camera.
Go ahead.
Stop!
No. And
Okay.
Yep.
We're rolling.
Yeah.
Live here at Presto on Walnut Street. This is the lovely west end of Walnut. And the difference between the east end and the west end, I think, is the brick work. There's lots of beautiful brickwork in downtown Boulder here, where we're at. And there's a lot of people that are kind of on the move down here. A lot of people walk to our restaurant, which is great because the parking pretty much sucks. So we really enjoy when people visit us from the Exeter building across the street. From the Daily Camera, which is just right next door. And from the Walnut Brewing and the Walrus and the Walnut Realty. We've got a lot of great neighbors next door. And we have been here for 8 years now. Haircuts in between getting sandwiches.
Tom, of course, is speaking of the massage parlor that Well, next here on our West End television special on Jan Scott tonight, we go into Juanita's, one of the older restaurants here on the west end of Pearl. They're right next to Triana's in Timbuktu. We're going to visit with Ed Biggs. We'll also eat, and we're also going to talk with him outside and find some more history of the west end of Pearl. Story on the west end. How did this restaurant get started?
Well, Michael Kretz and Roger Berardi opened up this restaurant in June of 1983.
Really? 1983?
Yes. 18 years, going on 19 years at this point in time, Jan.
And Roger Berardi, of course, a longtime restaurateur here in Boulder.
He and his family. His father, Jiggs, was in the restaurant business for many, many years. They had a restaurant called the Roman Arches in Louisville at one time.
Right.
It's probably 45, 50 years ago.
Right.
Family's been in the business ever since then. At one time we had 3 Berardi and Sons restaurants when the family was all in the business. We had one in Fort Collins, one in Denver, one here in Boulder. We've also had a Juanita's in Denver. It was there for about 11 years, but this one still exists, obviously, for 19 years, and thanks to Boulder, we're still going strong. Somewhere along the line, we've become very popular with the students.
Yeah.
So, you know, if you come in here at lunch, you'll see a lot of business crowd from the neighborhood. At dinner, people from all over Boulder and all over the place come in for dinner, and then, of course, late at night, the students take over.
Dude, so okay, the awards that you've won a lot of awards here.
Yeah.
What are some of the best of awards that you've won?
Most of we've won, I mean, best neighborhood bar, best chips and salsa, best margaritas over the years, different years. But the one that we're the proudest of is Boulder's best Mexican food, which we've won year after year for many years.
Is that right?
Yes.
Really? Did you win it again this year?
Yes, we did.
You did?
That was the Boulder Weekly.
And the Boulder Weeklies,
Yes.
okay. All right.
This is one of our specials today, actually. It's not featured on our regular menu. The sauce is very popular, though. In this case, like I say, today with these black mussels, which are a delicious combination. We also have our oh my God. These are the combination fajitas, which we
Well, continuing our coverage here on the west end of Pearl, we go to Fleet Feet, talk with Kathy and Blythe, and I do a little running test to see whether or not
It's just gonna be great, interactive, instead of just sitting there. Creator of Fleet Feet. I've been in Boulder since April of 2000, and I used to swim on June 10th of 2000, and we're very fortunate to be in the West End because it is a very dynamic part of Pearl Street. There are awesome restaurants and wonderful stores. We have an amazing, quick access to trails, to the, that said, runner ran myself into the grave or something like that, was to be a community-based store to provide different running events for the community. We have 3 fun runs. We've started Girls on the Runs, and we're very active in a lot of the local races. Very fortunate. We have the West End 3K, which has turned into a big event, and it's great for kids. It's a huge race for kids. There's an open wave, and there's also a competitive male and female wave, and we definitely draw some very big names, and it's just really amazing that you can have this top-notch race, in a small local race. You draw these big names. It's very exciting. And when you're angry, aim towards girls between the ages of 8 and 11. Also, we do include some 12-year-olds, but it's a program that's based on self-esteem as well as incorporating running and walking activities. After my first marathon, I was completely hooked to the sport because it provides an escape to another world where you can just, get away from everything. And Girls on the Run is a program we started in Boulder, and it's in its second season right now, but it's also providing girls the opportunity to see how athletics can influence your life and help you to be a more confident individual in the world, because it's something for yourself. This is our shoe wall. We have a wide selection of shoes from broken down is by function. People will come in and say, what is the number one shoe? What's the best shoe? And it's really, there is no best shoe. It's more broken down by function. We watch you run on the treadmill. We watch you walk on the floor. We take a look at the shape of your feet, and we ask you questions about your training in order to better fit you for the right shoe. Slowly increase your speed.
No problem.
I'd love you to let go. If you feel like you're...
Like you can make it go faster, I can
Okay.
keep walking. Oh no! Oh, okay, here we go. It's actually just here.
To Timbuktu, passport not required. We're in Boulder, Colorado on 1035 Pearl Street on the west end of Pearl. All right, this Timbuktu Station store was our third store, opened in 1993, and we specifically looked for the west end of Pearl Street. We liked it because it's very pedestrian friendly. We liked having parking available to our customers, so it made them easier to get in and out. We love the restaurant mix, and we also love the other fashion mix of retailers. So it's been We were found in Traverse City, Michigan 10 years ago. At that time we decided that the owners wanted to be out in the field, so our partner who does the designer went to Minneapolis, and my husband John and I came to Boulder, Colorado to work with the store and build the company. We now have 16 stores, 5 of them are in Colorado.
Yeah.
When we started Timbuktu, it's because we all had the love for travel, and we've all traveled quite a bit. My husband and our partner used to... Okay, what was important to us was to create comfortable clothing that could be for work, for travel, for weekends. We sized it European 1, 2, 3, which is like small, medium, large, so it's very easy to fit anybody. And we also wanted the essence of travel, so we came up with our characters. Fashion and style and on adventure. And so we carry a travel theme throughout our nations. This winter we're going to stay close to home and go up to Grandpa's cabin, Timbuktu. We're traveling up to the North Shores. And they've been to Kathmandu, they've been to Nepal, they've been to Costa Rica, and Salt Lake City. Small woodworking in their garage. Get the photography that we used in the stores. We've had customers whose photography that we've used in our stores. So the travel's been a big piece to the is what we're about. Our number one fabrication is tinsel. We've been doing it for over 6 years, and we're one of the first people into it. It's made from wood pulp in an environmentally sensitive manner. Synonym for the rayon prints that we do that mixes with the tinsel. And another fabrication, the border cloth, which packs like a dream. You can wad it up, throw it in your bag, pull it out. There's not a wrinkle in it.
Go.
Customers just started sending us pictures of them wearing Timbuktu from all over the world, including Timbuktu.
Oh my God, this guy doesn't have any clothes on. Pearl Television special. Next we're going to go into Walnut Realty, talk to Tom Kahn. He's been here since 1967, one of the oldest realtors in town. He's kind of like the Jerry Garcia of realtors and brokers. On this edition of Jann Scott Tonight, our West End television special continues.
I'm Tom Kahn. I'm the owner of Walnut Realty. Well, I've been in Boulder since 1967, and I opened Walnut Realty in 1975 at this very location. And at the time, this building, it was pre-mall, and this building was sort of the mall. They still had the original benches in the hallway, where the idea was that people would come in off the street and sort of hang out, and the mix of stores was a tobacco store, a leather store, a hair cutter, gift cards, and then over a time it seemed like this building couldn't support retail, so we pretty much
that are no longer here.
Well, I don't know where they've gone. Some people rumor they sit at the bottom of mine shafts, but...
Who are they?
Well, you know, I mean, you asked about ABO, and I knew the Pirates, I knew the circus. I mean, those people are scattered probably all over the country, and you might be surprised, probably some of them actually started working for Dad or have a pretty straight job now, but times have changed. I mean, probably the biggest landmark that's gone off the West End is Shannon's. I mean, all the bars, discos, whatever, that was the only place you could go and have a drink and dance and have a good time. And I remember the day the building caved in.
I was in there.
Nobody was in there, luckily. But I do remember the quote, too. I took out nothing struck.
I'll talk about anything. I'm only getting this for cover, but you have to move your lips.
Well, I believe that... No. Architecture, that it's hard to say whether has changed considerably. Used to connect with a two-way car traffic street of Pearl, so it was a thoroughfare. But I enjoy all the places, so units in one place and be walking distance to the mall, walking distance to the open space and trails, yet have a sort of high level of privacy.
It's already happening now.
Yeah, well,
Colorado has...
They all sort of look alike, yet there isn't a lot of Colorado history tied into it. It's sort of maybe more of a California look. It's hard to describe, but yeah, I'm sure we do, but I hear it's going to be sort of mass. So favorite is probably Wolf Lions. I think they have a little bit more of an urban feel. The rest of them, like I say, I have trouble describing even what type of architecture they are. I'm not sure what you would call the style of a lot of the things that are popping up.
It used to be J.J. McCabe's, which was a bar restaurant that I opened in, I think, around 1974. There had been various things. I think the building was built in about 1910, and at one time it was the home and wanted to do this new development, the new office building, declared this part of JJ's, this original part, which was the little body shop, they declared it a historic monument.
Now when you say office building, you don't mean this one, do you?
Yeah.
Is this...
and so forth. At any event, this part here, I'm not sure why, it has something to do with the stone lintels. I said they should declare it a historic monument because this is where Big Head Todd first played. This was his first gig in McCabe's when he came out of the garage band thing. And the Samples, one of the early places, Leftover Salmon, bunch of bands started in McCabe's. So if they're going to make McCabe's historic, it should have been for that, not for something to do with stone lintels. Anyway, as it turned out, it's wonderful because this is where the tavern part of the Boulder Chop House and Tavern is, and it makes a great setting for a bar. As I say, this was a part of Arnold Brothers. And this used to be the automotive end of Boulder. At one time, where Walt and Hank's Old Chicago, where Old Chicago is now, was a Pontiac dealer. And The building down where Rio Grande down Walnut Street, that was an automotive dealership. So this was the West End, West Pearl, West Walnut was automotive, industrial, etc. There used to be a lumber yard over there when we first opened the Walrus. We built the restaurant ourselves, and we go run right across the street and get lumber and nails. Right on that corner there, where the Exeter building, that was a lumber yard. So yeah, things have really changed around
Did you know
there.
a cat lady?
Cat lady?
From this neighborhood? The shortest parade in the world took place on this street. You started that.
Yeah.
It's been a
Well, I didn't actually start it.
Yeah.
See, about where I'm standing was the westerly edge of McCabe's. And it went down to the end of the building here, and it was 53 feet. And next door, where the Chinese restaurant is upstairs, was a bar called Molly's, which I also owned.
Right.
And one St. Patrick's Day, it was snowing, I remember, and patrons of McCabe's decided that they would parade over to Molly's and call it a parade.
Which was upstairs.
And you see that fire hydrant there?
Right.
That was painted beautiful Kelly green. They did that, and they painted the yellow line green down the center of the, and they marched. So that was year one. The second year, we thought this was sort of fun, so we got a permit. And we painted the hydrant green again. They allowed us to do that for maybe 2 or 3 years. Couldn't do that anymore.
Right.
And it grew into quite a parade. We'd have 100 floats and 2,000 or 3,000 people show up for this nonsensical 53-foot parade. And I think we got in the Guinness Book of Records at one time for that.
You announced, or the newspaper said you were retiring. I mean, is there any truth to that? Are you retiring?
Well, I was, up until October 1st, was the president and CEO of Rock Bottom Restaurants.
Yeah.
And I've now just become the chairman.
Chairman of the board.
Chairman of the
So
board.
those guys run it, and you basically.
Yeah, well, I backed off some, yeah.
Rock Bottom.
Yeah, Rock Bottom has more than 80 restaurants, and then there's Concept Restaurants has 10 or 12.
You and Bob Greenlee have some casinos together, is it?
He and I are minor partners in a company up in Blackhawk called Blackout Gaming that owns the Gilpin Hotel Casino and the Lodge Casino.
And you sold sailboats for a while, right? Didn't you have a sailboat company back in the 70s?
Yeah, I did. It was headquartered right here. It used to be Arnold Brothers showroom, and that was our office. Yeah, we made sailboats in Costa Rica, and big ones, 36-foot catches, and shipped them out of there and sold them around the world.
The Boulder Beer Company, isn't that yours or your wife's?
It's my wife's.
Your wife's?
Yeah, Gina and Diane Greenlee are partners, together with the employees, are partners in Boulder Beer, Rocky's Brewing Company it's called now.
Do they sit over there and like drink the profits in that place?
No, I'm not sure about Diane, but Gina's mostly into Chardonnay. So.
Sure. Do you ever have a restaurant go broke?
Oh, many.
Oh, really?
Several. Yeah, some I've even forgotten their names, probably. Try to blank those out of your mind. I was part of an auto dealership, Alfa Romeo. That used to be right here in this spot.
Romeo,
the Alfa Romeo.
Yeah.
Centennial Alfa Romeo.
Your partnership?
Yeah, I was in that for 2 or 3 years. But I got into the restaurant business pretty early. I've been a Burger King operator. I've run donut shops when donuts were not the wonderful yuppie experience that Krispy Kreme is. Donuts are at the bottom of the ladder, I'll tell you that. Popcorn stands, hot dog stands.
Where did you run these?
In department stores in the Midwest.
Yeah.
Not looking at my stuff.
No, not anything. Yeah, no, we should have Skanky on the, I would put him on with. Yeah.
Before putting all this out, tell us what we have here.
Let's start right with the back.
Okay, back here we have an appetizer sampler.
She's working the business. We shoot. He goes to the Carnegie branch.
Really?
Yes, yeah. In fact,
Maybe they'd like Skanky.
Okay, and here we have, this is the largest steak that we offer here. It's a 22-ounce porterhouse.
Holy smokes.
And here we have for dessert.
Well, on the west end of Pearl, there isn't a bookstore like Borders. So we've included Borders Books at 16th and Pearl. And 16th, just off the downtown Boulder Mall, is Boulder's largest bookstores, and I'm going to go in. We'll have a look at some of their sections. The bookstore's been here for 1 year. It's Borders Books and Music. Well, here's some of the more popular books for Christmas. Big this year, Cats, of course. And then there's the Cats of Charles Wasaki. The new Harry Potter. You won't find anything like this on the West End. A bookstore that has, look, a cafe, all these different sections. Plus in the basement, all of these different sections including children's, music, video, even media and TV. Books and Music has a full-service cafe. Plus this bookstore has the largest audio book file in the city. They have books of local interest. A complete new paperback section. A bestseller section. Borders has Title Sleuth. You can look up any book or record that you need. Here's a complete literature section. And a new literary fiction section. Plus a poetry section. Look, the literature just goes on and on and on. It's certainly the largest bookstore in Boulder. A gigantic mystery section. The music store, of course, is gigantic. Here are the top 20 hottest hits.